And welcome back, everybody. We're live right now in Fairfax County, Virginia, outside of the Fairfax County Courthouse, where maybe in about 10 minutes we will jump back live into the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. So especially for our YouTube fans out there, we will jump live back into the stream. You will not miss any moment of the trial. I do want to let you know, if you have a question about this case, go on our YouTube channel, pin your question. We'll answer it here on the air to the best that we can. Now, as we do wait to jump back live, we're breaking down some of the most important testimony that's happened in the past few days, and that includes the testimony of Richard Marks. Now, Richard Marks is an entertainment industry expert. He was a technical forensic analyst that was called by Johnny Depp's side to really talk about the impact this 2018 Washington Post article had on Johnny Depp's career, and he talked about how Johnny Depp was canceled. Take a look.
You wouldn't want to hire an actor who has negativity following them. You wouldn't want to pay to actually bring your brand down, your movie. And so that's very important, and especially in the last 5 years with the MeToo movement, you wouldn't want negativity hiring an actor who, quote unquote, had been canceled.
Is there anything in particular that might prevent an actor from getting hired by a brand or a studio?
Well, I mean, we're talking about illegal activity, a criminal record, but right now, the pinnacle of negativity in Hollywood is being accused of domestic abuse, sexual abuse, violence, and what we've seen is almost immediately terminations and cancellations for the investors, to the people who create that product, to move away from that negativity.
I think you mentioned the Me Too movement. What's your understanding of what the Me Too movement is?
My understanding of the Me Too movement is that finally society is listening to the victim, giving the victim of domestic abuse, sexual abuse, the benefit of the doubt. And there has been a shift in our society from not doing that to now the victim gets the benefit of the doubt until there's too much doubt. And to me, that's the Me Too movement. One person can come forward and accuse Harvey Weinstein, and another person can come forward, and another. That's the Me Too part of it. But they get the benefit of the doubt, whereas in the past, the victim didn't have that benefit. It is geared to Hollywood. It says, 2 years ago, when I was getting my divorce, Amber Heard is saying, I was the abuser, and you didn't, Hollywood, you stood up for my abuser, not for
Objection,
me,
Your
the
Honor.
victim.
Objection. Now he's mischaracterizing the document.
I think he's expressing his understanding of how that was perceived.
I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Thank you.
What I'm saying is Hollywood got the subject matter of the op-ed loud and clear. Amber Heard was calling out Hollywood for supporting since 2016, supporting her abuser, and she felt the wrath of Hollywood. She was calling them out to do something. In the Washington Post, and on the eve of her biggest film, a big film for Hollywood, the publicity machine was in high gear. There was lots of publicity and news out there. This was the height of her fame, and she used it at that moment to call Hollywood out. They, in my opinion, as a member of Hollywood, they heard that plea loud and clear, and it also got her publicity for her movie. I don't think that in my perception, and people in Hollywood didn't see that as a coincidence, that date. So yeah, in Hollywood, I think the message was received that she was sending. He was, you know, one of the guys, and I never heard any complaints, you know, if you will.
Do you have an opinion about the impact of the publication of the op-ed on Mr. Depp's reputation in Hollywood?
It's devastating. It's the type of claim, the MeToo claim of sexual violence, domestic abuse, that has canceled a list of actors. Chris Noth recently. I just read something about Frank Langella. We know newscasters, Les Moonves, head of CBS. Now Johnny Depp is in their ranks.
Okay, so clearly this case is raising a number of different issues in a number of different contexts. And so, Dina, we're going again for your YouTube questions. Dina, we have a viewer who said, her name's Diana Aziz, and Diana Aziz says, in relation to this testimony we were just hearing, do you think this testimony and a lot of people are using Amber Heard as a reason to discredit the Me Too movement?
Oh, that is a really great question. And the sad part is I think that the evidence that's coming out so far is discrediting her and her claim, and probably by extension, the Me Too movement. Whether or not, you know, if indeed Johnny Depp does win and proves it shows that she was lying about him, this opinion may very well be co-opted by people who think the Me Too movement has gone too far. I don't think that that was Johnny Depp's intent in this case. I think he really believes that he was a victim and his reputation was wrongly damaged. And, you know, we don't want the Me Too movement to be a platform that's used to wrongfully accuse, you know, other people of things. So if this is a correction, you know, who knows? But I do think there will be political effects from this, depending on how it turns out.
Well, it really does become a question of whether or not Amber Heard was telling the truth. And will we get an answer to that during the course of the trial? We'll wait and see. But, Linda, it kind of leads into an interesting question we also received on YouTube. Now, unfortunately, we don't know the name of the person who asked this, but could she, meaning could Amber Heard, plead insanity based on her diagnosis? Now, again, the idea here is that she didn't know she was making a false statement against Johnny Depp. Maybe it was, I guess this is a question of if she legitimately believed it or had a delusion about what Johnny Depp was doing to her. What do you think about that?
Well, so funny you asked that, because before we came on the show and Dina and I were talking, I said, Dina, do you think the jury could absolve Amber Heard and not find that she acted recklessly because she has so many psychological defects that have been pointed out, mental disease that has to be treated, that they'll think that, well, this was just her ordinary belief, and in her mind, she was abused. And that was the specific question we discussed. Dina's opinion, I'll cue you in, thought that that was a little far-fetched, that they thought that there's enough to show that she knew what was happening. But it's an interesting take on this case if somebody wants to say, hey, let's give her a pass.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't know what you were doing and you didn't know that it was false, it's interesting. It's an interesting take, I'll tell you. But we have some great questions from our viewers. This is a good one here for you, Angenette. And I'm curious your perspective on it, too. Noah Mejas says, can Amber's team be reprimanded for the way they're talking towards the witnesses? I'm curious your perspective first on, you know, the manner, the style in which Amber Heard's team is questioning Johnny Depp's witnesses. I mean, we even saw it earlier today where this forensic accountant kept getting cut off by J. Benjamin Rottenborn.
Yeah, and you know what? I have seen in the past, and we saw it even recently in a murder case down in Tennessee, where the judge reprimanded an attorney for behavior in the courtroom and something that was said during a sidebar. So it can happen. I think that we've all talked about this, and we can agree that you can be aggressive and do a really effective and aggressive cross without being rude and disrespectful. And I think that we've seen some rudeness throughout some of these cross-examinations. And I think that it loses effect. And so the judge could reprimand them publicly. She could say something to them at sidebar. But I feel like Judge Azcarate kind of likes to be in the background. I don't know if you all have noticed that, but I feel like she just is trying to call the balls and the strikes, and she's trying to stay out of it. She's not trying to insert herself and her personality into this. And so she's probably just kind of like, you know what? Let's let the jury decide on style, substance, and everything else.
She's incredibly fair and always allows the attorneys to go up for a sidebar. She seems a very fair judge. Now, here's an interesting one, Linda. It's from Wilves. Can the ACLU be held accountable, and how could it affect their reputation if Amber has used this for the leverage in her career? It's a great question because I was shocked at how much the ACLU was involved in the preparation of the 2018 Washington Post article. So this is a really good question. Linda, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I was shocked too. And another thing Dina and I were talking about, how it did not look good for the ACLU here. If you're a supporter of the ACLU, that they seem to have done things not for, let's how we say, the best cause, that they got duped. And you don't want anyone you're giving your money to be duped. Could they be held accountable? Well, then that would also be a conspiracy for defamation. I think it would be a much harder case to prove on behalf of Johnny Depp. And, you know, ACLU does have goodwill. But sure, they come out not looking very good.
Yeah, we'll see if Johnny Depp actually wins the case against Amber Heard, and then we'll see if he goes after any organization next. Well, I am signing off. I got to head back into the courtroom, but you're in great hands. Linda is taking over once again. Stay with us here on Law and Crime. We'll be right back.